Alright, welcome back to the channel, and welcome. Every cycle we do this, or, I guess this is only the second time we do it, so no one would have even known that. Oh, man. Great start. We are here live on YouTube. Me and MaiTyler, we're going to be doing predictions for the updated CornellVerse in 2022. Both of our channels, we feature CornellVerse content pretty prominently, as we love the database, and it gets updated every time there's a new TEW game. So, knowing that we will have a new updated CornellVerse, and that it will take place in January of 2022, we have made some predictions for every single company in the game that is currently active. We have some predictions for what kind of companies will open, and we have just some miscellaneous predictions. So, yeah, do you have anything else you want to add, or should we just get into it?
I think we just get into it.
Right.
Mostly because the next one's mostly going to be you and me reacting to it.
Oh, yeah. So, by miscellaneous, what I mean by that is just anything that isn't tied to a company specifically. We've given them its own section. So, I'm going to open with any just miscellaneous predictions before we go company by company. The first thing that I have, and even though I don't really believe that this is going to happen anymore, seeing as the start date is not 2024 or 2025 like I had predicted in the previous predictions video, but I need to back past 64 up. I need to, I made this prediction, I'm going to fucking stand by it, even if I don't believe it anymore. At the end of the last predictions video, I said Tommy Cornell will be retired, that 2020 will be the last we see active Tommy Cornell. So, I have that he will retire at the very old age of 43, starting in the new database. He'll be a road agent or a personality or something. He just won't be an active wrestler anymore. The second thing I have is regarding to the USA Big Three. I think that in terms of companies in the United States, they will still be at the top, as in if you only rank the American companies, USPW, SWF, and TCW will still be at the top, but I have TCW falling down in the rankings across the entire world. A different company will take that number 3 spot, and I will reveal that company later when I get into the company-specific predictions. So I still have these 3 ruling the United States. They just aren't going to have the monopoly over the entire wrestling world that they've had for the past, 4 game cycles now? Since 2010, right?
Yeah, I would say.
And then even before that, Dave was in the, or no, I guess 2005 Burning Hammer was at the, now I'm getting off track anyway. So for my third prediction, I just have a prediction for the entire state of Europe, as for reasons I will get into later. I think that no company in Europe will be above tiny sized. I think EWA are going to fall down to tiny. No company will be small sized. Their biggest company will be tiny sized. I just feel it's going to be a complete wasteland of what's going on over there. This next one I have... Oh, sorry, you go.
That's crazy minus content. He's taking it away.
I'm
absolutely based at him.
We're killing Europe here. We're killing the Euro scene.
You're paying to get less.
This next one
showers, kid.
Dude, is that Byron talking?
Yeah.
We got work to do, kid. You're jobbing to me. I'm getting my 9th title reign. The next one I have is kind of generic because I don't know where he will go. But I do believe that for some company, I don't know which one, I don't have a specific guess, but Phil Weber will once again be a head booker of a wrestling promotion in the new game. I have 2 more predictions. Number 5 I have is I feel it's kind of been, not a waste per se, but the fact that we only have one alliance in 2020 with this whole alliance system, I think the lack of alliances is going to get noticed by Adam or whoever makes the CornellVerse games. I'm sure it's not just Adam by himself, is it? Whoever.
I think it might be.
I think it might be Adam and maybe a moderator or 2. He might book. Whatever. I think we're gonna have a new alliance, and at least one of the companies will be medium sized. So it's not going to be another kind of cot thing. I think whatever alliance we have, at least one company is going to be a major company at medium sized. And the final prediction I have in the miscellaneous category involves Netstream. As I was looking through these broadcasters, I was looking through WrestleWorld, and I started looking through the broadcasters, and I noticed Netstream says that they launched in the wake of the huge success of Revier and has become one of Revier's biggest rivals. So I predict that Netstream will purchase a company similar to how Revier purchased USPW. They will purchase some company in the States and try to rival USPW. Whether they purchase a company as big as SWF or TCW or as small as a company as CZCW and PSW, I think they're going to purchase a company and try to rival USPW with that company. So that's all I got for miscellaneous.
Yeah, I was gonna say we could just what's the next one I was gonna say, because like we kind of organized ours a little differently. Mine are just basically company by company, region by region.
Yeah. So once
I don't we get into the companies part, then we'll kind of start dueling.
I know I explained this in the stream announcement. I think I didn't say anything in the actual video. We recorded this already, and then I go to edit it, and the fucking back half, I had to split it up into 2 files. The back half just won't load, so we had to redo it, and I'm like, fuck it, we'll just do it live.
Fuck it.
Do you have your new companies split off or no?
I really only have one new company. So you can like go your new companies, and then I'll kind of go into my theory of a new company.
Okay.
Oh, it's in 2 parts.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I have this whole section dedicated to new promotions, because I don't have a number, but I have a decent amount of companies dying, and I think that a couple of companies are going to open up to combat that. So I have a new women's promotion I think will open up to fill the void of AAA, either in the US or Canada. I think, for those of you that don't know who he is, because he hasn't done squat in canon yet, there is Mr. Dunton Hall, who I think is like an allegory for Elon Musk, or similar to him. If Elon Musk was a wrestling fan, is the vibe I get. And at the end of his bio, he says he would probably start his own organization and completely revolutionize the business with concepts that no one has ever thought before. And what I think that means is that, for those of you that have played the alt mod, he opens up a company called Battles of Hell, which is legitimately Lucha Underground on crack that takes place in Hell. And so I predict that will become canon. Not Battles of Hell itself, but some sort of cinematic Lucha Underground style promotion. I think he will open in the States, and it won't have the creative extremes of Battles of Hell, where there's no titles and all that shit. I think it will be a little more wrestling focused, but still be very cinematic. For those of you that don't know, there's a bunch of these billionaires or just wealthy dudes that are just chilling in the unemployment pool. And another one I have is Herb McIntosh. I think Herb McIntosh, he is an American millionaire who lives in Mexico for tax reasons. I think, also going back to that alt mod, I'm going to reference it a couple times because it's such a great mod. I think he's going to open up his own promotion in Mexico. And while I do hope to God that they open up MHW, because that is one of my favorite companies. Let me get the logo up real quick. MHW is one of my favorite looking companies that is yet to debut. If I can find, there it is. I just love their logo. So I hope he opens up MHW. I don't think it'll actually be MHW, but I think he will finally open up his own promotion in Mexico. I also have at least 2 new Canadian companies opening in Canada, and one of them will be from British Columbia. I had a reason at the time, and I didn't write down the reason why British Columbia. I think just because, like, all the companies have been in Quebec or, like, in the Montreal region or close to it, so I think he's going to make at least one at the western side of Canada. And I also have CWA. They will have an actual competitor to rival them at medium or above. their rival promotion will be at medium above. It may be a third new company or one of the previous two mentioned ones. I think there will be at least two new companies, maybe more. And I think one of the new companies, or it could be ACPW, probably not. But I think CWA will have a competitor at medium. And I also think it's about time 5SSW gets a rival themselves. There's only one Joshi promotion in the game. I think it's time that there's a second one that opens. And the last one I have, I know this is a lot. It didn't seem like a lot as I was making these, and then I split them off, and I'm like, fuck, I have a lot of promotions opening up. The last one I have, I personally feel like it's been kind of weird to just have this India region just chilling about, doing nothing. So I think instead of waiting for 2022, mid 2022 to open up a company, I think Kashmir Singh will open up his own company, and we will have a playable company in India in the new database. That's all I have. That was a lot. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I think I'll wait till I get to India to like do like uh I could just do India now, I guess, because
Yeah,
it's its own company. But
that's the opening.
I guess the first thing is I kind of like conservative. Well, I have a lot of companies. I'm not really dying, but like not doing well, and others like I went off by the last game and didn't have a lot of companies just opening up because of that. The main two companies, I guess, besides the Indian one to just spoiled is I also think there will be a women's company. I think it will be in Canada, British Vancouver as well.
Woo.
Uh, but I think who will open it is instead will be she either be like running it or being the booker at least is Candy Floss because
Oh,
in the bio it has her no there and shout out to my girl, legend of the business.
legend.
And I think in terms of that company, I'm gonna go on a limb because it used to be it didn't seem that the open soon companies were picked until Wiggum was opened up. So I'm gonna go on a limb just because there's no way I can know like what the company would be if it's like just its own like original creation. I'm gonna go Canadian Women's Wrestling Federation,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel that the work rate of the company will kind of be the thing that sets it apart from like QAW, where it's all about kind of I'm not lucha wrestling, but like lucha libre entertainment. They're gonna be kind of more ground and pound, kind of serious sport, maybe competitive entertainment if you know the products. Uh, Maybe even something like a little Joshi in there, basically kind of to be different from both QAW and AAA. For India, I think the company I think was we're gonna see is Delhi Superstar Pro Wrestling. I think it has just opened up by Kashmir Singh, but just to be a little different, I think this company, Kashmir's obviously gonna book himself, but the thing he does to kind of start off the Indian wrestling scene is have one of his rookies face him for the main title, and just he gets just pinned by this guy, and whoever this person is, whether it's like a yet to debut or like I said original character, they will be like India's top star, like even bigger than Kashmir, and like the company's being booked around them. So it's like basically the Great Khali is what I'm getting at, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe not necessarily a giant.
Yeah, I think when we recorded it, I said something like he has like the Vader debut in New Japan when he just beat Antonio Inoki. Like he might not be like the
Yeah,
size of Vader, but has the similar debut where Kashmir's Inoki and this young guy is Vader, where he just comes in and wins.
and he's like bitch.
Bitch, fuck
Uh,
you.
and I guess because this is also kind of miscellaneous, I didn't notice it is. Russell World was mentioned. I'll get this one just out of the way. Is I think that while it hasn't debuted, I'm keeping this one because 64 tried to argue why this was liberalized, but I'm sticking with it. I think that Russell World will either like just as it already started, it's not even opened all the way, has taken over the indies, and this like is a narrative like wow Russell World's doing really well, or it has crashed and burned and not doing that great. Not in saying that it's closed down, but it's basically, I don't know, if like maybe the game, like how it is in the game right now versus how it is like in 20, in the next game is like changed up so it's not as beneficial to be on. But I that's my, but mine are very like this or that, so I
Mm-hmm.
apologize for that. But yeah, I think that's really my only
Yeah.
miscellaneous one.
All right. All right. So now time to go company by company, and I have it set alphabetically if that's cool with you. Um,
Yeah, I'll just have to scroll
so yeah, we're
and
gonna start with 21CW, end with Zen. So first things first for 21CW, I have them. They are gonna be ranked above TCW. I think the reason that they are gonna get ranked above TCW is because TCW, they're currently in their rebound era, but I don't think their fall from grace per se is done. I think they're gonna start losing global popularity. I don't think they're gonna be on their deathbed or anything, but I think they're gonna be losing their popularity in Canada. And while that happens, 21CW is going to start to cash in on the European market, and they're going to start poaching guys from Europe and get so over in Europe that they will actually overtake TCW in the global rankings. And a second prediction, in addition to that, I think they will that's the wrong word. They will create a new mid-card title called like International, Global, Intercontinental, something along those lines to kind of like celebrate their new popularity and success out in Europe. And this one I've added since the recording. I have 21CW, and this has been brought up by us all the fucking time, is that their dojo produces a shit ton of like bland, boring guys to the point where I can't imagine that 21CW will have a good, like, I think they're gonna cut at least 5 of their talents from this roster. I think 5 guys are gonna get cut, and not because like they did anything wrong. I just think they're gonna get like budget cuts. It'll say something like that in the bio. I think they will be released from 2020 to 2022. Did I explain that weirdly?
no, I think that was fun.
Okay, cool. Yeah, but that's what I got for 21CW. They'll raise in the promotions, they'll make a new title, and at least 5 of these active wrestlers will be cut due to an overbloated roster.
All right, so mine. This is a good one to start off because mine is radically different, and I'm gonna try not to get because it's hard when you're not doing it by region for spoiler's sake, but I'll be fine. I have 21CW being knocked down a peg. Not like, the like losing the top spot in Britain, they're definitely that, but they've definitely lost a lot of momentum and maybe popularity due to the fact that a soon to be revealed, we'll get this later in the prediction, scandal to come out of the British Isles, and it is affecting all of like Brit Rest, and they are being hit, pretty much like I'm not gonna say the hardest yet, but they're getting pretty hard. Combine this with Tommy Cornell. I don't have him retiring yet, but I have him kind of like, he's in the last legs. Like, you could tell that he's setting up shop here. They're gonna need to do a lot of work to get their roster on par, like of that talent. And because of the scandal, I think a lot of those bald-headed individuals that 64 mentioned will be let go because of the scandal. And I think, yeah, that's about it for them. I think they're just going to be not doing too great, but nothing they can't come back from with a little good booking on your part.
Mm-hmm. So like they'll be in like a challenging spot, but not like a decaying spot for the
Yeah, kind
player.
of like TCW, but a little worse because like in like the old games, TCW was like struggling, but not like financially too bad. Like here, it's less the financials and more like they've really slipped up, and you
Mm-hmm.
need to build that roster up.
Mm-hmm. All right. On to 5-star. I have 5-star, even though I think a new Joshi promotion is going to debut. I think the reason for that debut is because 5-star will grow in size and just make Joshi wrestling slightly more popular, opening allowing for a new company to open. So I have them rising from tiny size to small sized. I also have one of their top guys, one of me and Tyler's favorites, Shiori Japensha. I have her leaving 5-star and going to either USPW or CWA. On top of that, this is one of those. There's a couple of times in this predictions video I'm going to say this. A lot of events happen very frequently in saves, in like almost every save you do, to the point where I think Adam's going to make it canon. And one of those events is Yuma getting pregnant. It happens so fucking much, I swear to God. She always wants that Kawashima baby. So I think it will become canon.
That's great.
She may or may not be on maternity leave when the database starts, but I think she will get pregnant. And as a result of her being pregnant, I think the door for... Where is she? Fuyuko Higa. I think the door for Fuyuko Higa will open, and she will get her first ever 5-star world championship reign before the database starts. And that's what I got.
Yeah, for mine, I don't really have a lot. I could see a lot of those happening, so you can maybe throw my head in there too. But I think, like literally in my notes, I just wrote 5-star will continue to be based.
It will.
So I have them also. So we could see another Joshi company.
Dude, what if 5-star and SWF strike a working agreement because they both are supreme?
That would be based.
That would
so just be the based alliance.
That'd be so based. But it's not because like SWF made a women's division. It's like they sent out the Crippler to wrestle some of the 5-star women.
That's crazy statement. That's
not a prediction.
Incident all over again. No, Kano, watch out.
No. All right, is that all you got for 5-star?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so when I reorganized these, I added quite a few, so that's why I got more. So for ACPW, I have they'll be in relatively the same spot they were in 2020. I think they're going to be around this area still, despite the added competition. I don't think it will affect them too much. But I have, specifically, I think Mario Da Silva and Ant-Man will both be poached by CWA. And that's what I got for ACPW.
Yeah, let me go to my Canada section. I have some ACPW stars being poached. I didn't list them individually, but I have them they're doing just fine. They're actually doing really well considering just how their integrated nature. They're a little more fun, not really sports entertainment, but just kind of just this odd thing compared to CWA. It's like hard to compare them. They're very similar yet very different, and that lends to their strengths. And so I think they've grown a little bit, maybe not necessarily in size to like a medium, but pretty decently. They're a big force in Canada with everything that's gone on.
Yeah, they're like king of the indies in Canada.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, on to APW. I think we both have APW in a similar spot where I do actually have them dropping. This is pretty much my only prediction is Raw will still be dominating at the top of the Australian scene, and I think because of that they will continue to take the best of APW. Like, I know they took Alexander Banks is gone. He was one of my favorites. They'll just continue to poach from them, and they will drop down to tiny size. They won't be like on their deathbed or anything, but they'll be smaller than they were.
Yeah, I have about the same thing. I kind of wrote it that they were on their deathbed, but that doesn't necessarily mean that. I just feel that they're like clinging on for dear life. Just like Australia's kind of just having it's kind of like how you had Europe. That's how I have Australia. Like
Europe plus Raw.
If SWF went and toured there, like it'd be over. Just like the fact that like good wrestling showed up, it would be over. Besides, the one company, I think we all know what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. We'll get to it very later.
All right, up next, Black Canvas Grappling. I have Black Canvas Grappling. They will rise to medium. I have them becoming a major company, but despite their rise to medium, I still don't think they will be top 3 in Japan. And I think you can predict which company I have getting that spot, but I will save that for them. So I have BCG rising to medium, and I also have, because this guy's a base god, Suki. Suki will finally get pushed. He will be at least a star, maybe a major star, and also have a Challenger Series title run under his belt by the new save start date. And this one's kind of a weird prediction, so bear with me. I think that from 2020 to 2022, nobody outside of the big 4 here are going to hold the world title. So until the database start date, the only possible people I have being champion are Tori, Funakoshi, Furusawa, and Razan Okamoto. I know that's a weird one, but I think they're going to bet on their eggs, and it's just going to kind of, like, work out for them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I got you.
Cool.
I'm trying to think of how to word mine, because mine, before we did it, was very key on, like, the other companies. I'll say in terms of, I think there's going to be another number 2 company in Japan. We'll get to Pride when we get to Pride. But in terms of companies I think are most likely to take that spot of number 2, I have Black Canvas doing it. They probably have gotten some stars, maybe for like offshoots of the other companies, that to kind of just go with their mentality of, like, you know, kind of like an AW thing, like take the people who aren't necessarily being booked well in the other companies, maybe the older guys, and getting them and, you know, giving them a last couple run, and, you know, just doing pretty good with them, you know, doing the old Puro style, you know, have them in tags, have them in 6-mans and whatnot. But I have Black Canvas rising and being the next, most likely to be the next number 2 company.
All right. Okay, what's next? Oh, Burning Hammer. Yeah, it's Burning Hammer time.
This one's going to be interesting.
This one I've completely made all new predictions for since the recording.
Oh, wow.
And the biggest one that I have, well, obviously I still think they're going to be number 1 in Japan. The biggest thing I have is I think the Neo storyline will be over. I don't think there will be Neo Prime. I don't think there will be Neo X. I think by 2022, the Neo storyline will be over, and no stables from Neo will exist. Slaughterhouse can exist if it wants to, but stables named Neo of any sort will be extinct. I don't have specific names, but I think Burning Hammer will poach at least 2 of Pride's top names. And by top names, I mean people at well-known or above. I think 2 of them will be poached. Most likely, like, Reaver or something. This is another one of those where it's like every save that you start, Burning Hammer will poach like half their fucking roster, it feels like. So I'm going to make... I think that's going to become canon to a lesser extent. I also have one of the base gods himself, Munamitsu. I have will rise to the top of the card. He will be at least a star or major star in the new save. And the last thing I have, somebody asked in one of my live streams if I think Matthew Keith or Casey Glenn will return to the States. And I think Casey Glenn will return to the States. I don't know which company he'll be for. Probably a major company, maybe not. I think Casey Glenn will be done with Burning Hammer in the new database, and he will move back to the States. But I think Matthew Keith will still be here. That's what I got.
So my Burning Ham prediction is that they are also number 1, and they, in fact, are so number 1, they are basically to how they were before, like in TEW, would it be 14? I guess 16, before the tsunami. Like, they've basically, that little text bubble right there where it says that, you know, they're vulnerable. Not anymore, bitch.
No way.
They have used smart booking. They've used money. They've beaten the shit out of Pride. And they're very much in a position where, I mean, it's not impossible for another company to challenge it, but right now, they're running pretty high. And I also, as a note, and this is weird that I added this, is I had Neo is not dead, but Neo Prime and Neo X, their storylines have converged. They've returned back together, quote unquote, but
Ooh.
it's really just kind of like a Bullet Club thing where it's like not real. Like you could just tell it's gonna be over soon. It's kind of more like a novelty
Mm.
of so no really big members are in it. No, it's just kind of there.
It's just the Bang Bang
Um,
Gang.
yeah, and essentially, I had I can't remember who I had as being the guy to lead it. Oh no, I did. I said I had Neo X being the winner of the
Ooh.
feud. So they basically won. So they're the only Neo, and they're the ones that are the main force in the like. So like I forget who's leading it right now. It's
Tyra.
my head. Yeah, I have him still leading it, but just kind of being there.
Yeah. So okay,
And it's just
this doesn't have to be a part of your official prediction, but do you think Kinojo Hori will still be in Neo at all?
no. I
Oh.
think that's like the main kind of issue that we got going on with that Neo, is it's basically like, okay,
Weird. All right. Cool. Cool. On to CWA.
on the CWA.
On to CWA. All right. So CWA, I have. This is the biggest prediction I have for them, and I don't know which one, but I think one of their, young corner pieces here, one of their big three, between Aaron Knight, Cameron Vesey, and Christian Price, I think one of them will be poached by USPW, and I don't know which one. So some of these I went like balls to the wall. Like I think Ant-Man will come here, and then some it's like it might be one of these three. So, this other one I have, I think it'd be a really cool stat not to do. I think it'd be a really missed opportunity not to do this. I think that Shooter Sean Dealey will capture his first CWA world title. I don't know if he'll start with it or not, but between 2020 and 2022, he will capture the CWA World Championship and become the first and probably only man to hold all three of the CWA World, the CGC World, and the North of the Border Canadian titles. I just think that's a really cool stat. And I have here, I think CWA will begin the process of putting women's wrestling on the map and have at least two of their female wrestlers at star status or above. And that's what I got for them.
I'll start off my predictions to them because I wrote the same thing down with their women's. Is that they also would have women who are. I even wrote down major star. I'm like, I think they push the women's division hard.
I gave myself leeway by
that,
saying star and above.
Yeah. Overall, CW is growing. It's still doing really good. One of the main reasons is in the mid card. Is they were good old reliable. They have a good old fashioned Stone to Colt feud between Ricky, who's now the veteran, versus the young David Stone. That's doing very well, and a lot of their good roster. I don't really have anyone being poached. I feel like it's just a weird thing where probably they want to poach them, but they don't have the abilities. Like they're just being loyal in general.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Knight's I think still there. Kanan Bressie, Shooter Sean. I also had Shooter Sean doing the whole being the only man to do the triple threat
Triple
of
crown.
being CGC, the triple crown, CGC, North of the Border, CWA. I had. Do I have anybody else? Oh, I do have people going to CWA.
Ooh.
My firings are a little sketched out here. I have
Air
the
attack.
people who I think, yeah, who I think is going to be hired by CWA is I have Lillian Rose being hired. If you don't know, they're my girls. Love you to death. As well as former MMA star Christopher Ball being signed to CWA, and he's doing pretty well for himself. He's basically kind of like your big MMA guy goes to big relative to professional wrestling. They're pushing him pretty well.
Ken Shamrock.
And yeah, basically, but a little lighter. And I think that's all I have for
the
CWA.
Canadian Wrestling Alliance. All right. For Wigan, I sorry, I don't know too much about this promotion. I didn't really fuck around with the UK scene in 2020. So all I have is I think they'll at least be above insignificant by now. I think they will be a tiny sized company by 2022. And one fun thing I do have though, I think one of those previously aforementioned 21CW bloated roster cuts, I think one of their major stars, if not their biggest name, will be one of those like 21CW rejects. Is kind of like the wrong term because it's not like they got cut for bad reasons. Just like they got cut because they had a bloated roster. I think one of those 21CW castaways will be like having a Matt Cardona type revitalized run in CWW at the top of their card, and that's all I got for Wigan.
I also have some of those guys I mentioned getting cut going down TWA. And if you remember, like probably like 35 hours ago now, I mentioned the 21CW scandal. Wiggum is the only company where that's not affecting them. If anything, it actually is benefiting them. So they're not like crazy. They're not like medium. They're not like on fucking TV or anything. But they're doing very well for themselves due to the fact that their whole mantra is just shut up and wrestle, and they've avoided the scandal that has come about that we'll get to eventually. And they're just kind of smiling and waving and just chilling.
Yeah, I feel like the shut up and wrestle kind of fits the UK scene as an entirety. I think Wigan could get really over really fast. You know, Coastal Zone,
especially compared to what they got. Coastal Zone.
Coastal Zone. I have Frankie Perez. He's gone. I think he's. I'm pretty sure I predicted this in the last predictions video too. But I think Frankie Perez is going back to Japan full time. Either with most likely he'll return to WLW. But I just think he'll be gone from Coastal Zone and be in Japan full time, whether he's signed to an exclusive written deal or not. Next thing, I have American Flash. I don't know how many people actually know this, but for people of my SWF save that have watched that or have just played SWF themselves, you will know Adam Smasher has a trait called Midas Touch, which is like the greatest thing to ever happen to TEW. It makes him so overpowered to the point, not to the point where it's like not fun, but to the point where it's really fun. And I don't know if how many people know this, but American Flash also has that Midas Touch attribute, so I think he will have like some stellar run in like 2020 before getting picked up by USPW, because this guy screams USPW, and he will get so over in Coastal Zone that he will debut in USPW and he'll already at least be a recognizable size by 2022. And the final prediction I have, I don't know if it says what year they started doing it, but they've started doing intergender wrestling. And while I don't think we will have our first ever female Coastal Zone world champion, because they're all at unimportance right now, but I do think by 2022 we will see our first ever female Extreme champion. This isn't officially a part of the prediction, but I think the most likely girl is Air Raid Siren to win the Extreme title. Cool.
Based and family. So my Coastal Zone, I have them as they're, which I mean they kind of are at this point. They're the largest indie in the country.
Yep.
They probably, if ECW, which we'll get to later, has slid down, they will be the company that has usurped them. I think they honestly will like have their television at this point, whether it be on something as small as Russell World or maybe even like Netstream or something like that. Because it's in the default database. It's waiting to be unleashed. I will say with this rise, the main like change in the company is their integrated system, where men and women can wrestle each other, has been scaled back to a women's division due to some of the executives and Cliff Anderson saying, maybe for TV, it's best if we get rid of that. And that has led to some people in the company leaving because it's basically like, okay, you sold out, fuck you. But they probably were going to leave anyway because, they went to bigger companies.
They
So,
want money.
the dirt sheets will make of that what they will. And before we move on, did we skip CILL?
No, I
Are they
think
next?
by acronym CILL is below, but Coastal is above Committee. So we're
Oh,
doing CILL
God.
next.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. That's why
It was a
I think
fool.
there's another one that we're gonna get to. I think Exodus 2010. Oh yeah, Exodus is gonna come before EMLL. So, yeah. All right, cool. So CILL. I also there's gonna be a couple companies I just don't know much about. Another one is CILL that came out with. I don't really have anything for them. All I've written down is that they're just gonna be in the same spot they were in 2020. That's all I got.
Yeah, I have CALL's doing about the same spot. I will say they're doing really well for themselves due to the fact that um they're up like their traditional way of doing wrestling has gotten over very well with like compared to like EMLL, like people look at EML and like what the fuck, and you look at CL, you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So that's the reason why they have managed to have a pretty good growth.
Yeah, it's nothing against CILL. I mean, I think they got a lot of fun people on their roster. I was just always more drawn to Ole if I was gonna play
Yeah,
Mexico, and then happened to also sign. I remember El Pavo Real. I think he also is in Ole. Um, I'd sign Pinky Perez a lot. I would sign their talent. It's just I never actually got into bed with them per se. Next company I have is DIW, and I have written down DIW will die because Adam hates hardcore companies. That's all I got. I think their days are
yeah.
fucking numbered.
I have DIY also being like if they're not dead, they're clinging on to dear life,
Yeah.
and it's gonna take a miracle for it to come back.
See, what's funny is Tyler pointed this out to me during our recording. I didn't even know in the bio it says they're already on the verge of bankruptcy. I just thought they were gonna fucking die because Adam hates hardcore companies. That's always been a running joke. Next up are the boys EILL, and I'm sorry guys, but I'm gonna have to swerve you real quick. I know I said 21CW were gonna be above TCW, but I also think EILL will be above TCW. I think EILL will grow their popularity in US and to a lesser extent Canada, and they will be number 3. I have 21CW. They will be above TCW, but they will still be at number 4, and I think EILL will take that number 3 spot, and TCW will be pushed all the way back down to number 5. So that's my big prediction for EILL, and I don't have a specific name, but I think not necessarily with their newfound popularity in the States. I just think it's going to be like coincidence or something. Maybe it is with their new popularity in the States. I think one of their stars or above, one of their top names is going to be some like foreign heel from America. Just kind of like throwing that old traditional gimmick on its head. And one of their top guys, probably to replace Soul Taker's spot because he'll probably be retired, will have some sort of American foreign heel at the top of EILL. Yeah.
Very best. For my EILL prediction. Sorry, I had to get my notes back
No, you're
on.
good. Take your time.
Mine are the opposite of. I'm also, people are sleeping, so I mean, actually, I don't give a shit. Fuck them.
Fuck 'em.
Uh, yeah, ELO, they're not doing good. The reason for my ELO not doing good is because Jorge Ibanez Jr., who, if you don't know, the original owner and founder of the company, died in a car crash in 2020, and now his son is leading the charge, and he's the reason Pablo Rodriguez was in the Indies for so long. Because he basically fired him to restructure, quote unquote, the company. He's not been getting along well with some of the stars, so there's been a small but prominent enough exodus of talent, with one big name jumping to a company we'll get to later, and ELL has definitely suffered under that. It's not Elion, who's definitely like the next figurehead of the company, but I've listed out people who I think might leave the company. I think only one of these people will. It won't be like two or all of them or whatnot. But the people I think could possibly leave because of a disagreement with him is El Hero Mexicano, Velociodad, who's literally like the game is telling you to push him single, but like it's fucking big. Angel of Mercy, or Rock God Alvarez. One of those four like men will leave the company because of a disagreement with this kid, and now ELL is on high alert because they're like, "Oh my god, we just lost this guy. What are we gonna do?"
Yeah, they're not necessarily like at a lower position. They're just kind of on like a slight panic mode kind of thing.
I guess that's how to put it. I think like I mean I don't think they're gonna decrease in size all the way that, but I definitely think they've lost momentum and are
That's what I
very
meant.
much
That's
like
what I meant.
yeah.
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 All right. Everyone's favorite European promotion, EWA. I still have them despite fucking dropping in size to tiny, as I mentioned earlier. The European wasteland I have. I still think they will be the biggest company in Europe. And the other prediction, I only have one more prediction. This one's going to be a little confusing to explain. I think this like structure that they have for the universal title, it will not break. And by structure, I mean, so right now it's the first time it's broken since Jace Cole, but I think we're gonna go right back to the Byron wins the belt, Byron loses the belt, Byron wins the belt, Byron loses the belt structure. So I think Paolo is going to drop it to Byron, who will drop it to someone who will get it, and then Byron will get it back. And so by the end of this, I think Byron's gonna have 9 title reigns by database start date.
I mean, Byron definitely, like, my EWA has Byron still being pushed. He's still going strong. I do have his son, Bret Heartbreak. He's probably gotten the world title, like, as the game has started. So insert groans here. I have them growing a bit. They are definitely the biggest force in Europe, despite, Byron's shenanigans being British and being named Byron. They're really palatable because it's very simple. It's easy on the eyes product, sports entertainment. Big guy, little hero beats big guy. Nothing really complicated there. I will say, and this is different from 64, is I did a swerve here. I lied, brother. Is they are facing competition, or they could be facing competition. I'll use the could. Again, cheat my way out of it. From a new European federation, the European League of Professional Fighters, which is just MMA and shoot, and they're so different. They've basically it's not even catch wrestling; it's just MMA wrestling, and they're now like the second force in Europe with a bunch of guys jumping ship. So now it's a battle between classic battle, sports entertainment, shoot wrestling, and it's the first time ever Europe's like mildly interesting.
I don't know. I think the UCR era was mildly interesting, and then Mancino had to go and fuck that up.
Asshole.
Loser. All right, Exodus 2010. So this is something that still perplexes me to this day, and maybe it's because I was kind of a WLW stan back in 2016. How WLW had the Yakuza scandal and Exodus 2010 when their owner's literal bio kind of outs him for being Yakuza. Like, it is currently unknown who the other EX 2010 backers are or why he was chosen as their representative given his obvious dislike of publicity. You know, this guy just screams Yakuza to me. So I have EX 2010. They will have their own Yakuza scandal, and the promotion will be a shell of its former self. I think they're going to drop down to insignificant sized, and so both their owner, Yoshi, and their booker, Burning Exile, they will be gone from the business, Koki Ishibanishi style. Him and the WLW founder both left the business due to their, they got blackballed for their involvement with the Yakuza. I think that same thing will happen to Yoshi and Burning Exile. And between all these guys right here, all these Burning Exile, Masao, Tsuneo, Commander, Orange, Pretty Okakura, and Shinpei, only one of those 7 guys will still be around for this new, like, deathbed era of Exodus 2010, and that's what I got for this company.
So my Exodus is basically just kind of the same as it is. They may have lost some stars. I didn't get into really specifics, but they are about the third, like going back to what I said about Pride, you know, slipping down the ratings. I feel Exodus are basically the third most likely company, to be above Pride. So I hardly see that being a thing. Like being the number 2 position. They could be like even with Pride, honestly. Like how I have my Pride, I'll get into that later. But in terms of overtaking Pride, I don't really see it. I do see that their junior heavyweight only product, Yakuza scandal avoiding, will do them pretty good, and they'll be pretty safe in the long run.
All right. EMLL, this company that I don't understand and I refuse to understand. I don't know much about them either. Again, I'm an Ole kind of guy. So what I have for them, I think El Bandito Jr., I am sorted very weirdly. I think El Bandito Jr. will get some nepotism push out the gate. He will be at least a star in the start of the new database. And I think, for reasons we will get into later, Luis Montero Jr. will join his father's promotion here at EMLL, and he will be under some mask with some gimmick, not for like any punishment or anything, but just because that's how this kind of promotion works. Like everyone's, I think it says in the bio, it's like a Tekken beat 'em up video game where everyone's got these wacky mask characters. So I think Luis Montero Jr. will join his father and be under some sort of mask, and yeah, that's what I got for EMLL.
My EMLL is basically just they're the same. They're really in the same position. I don't think they may have a start to poached. They may have a start to taken, but due to the fact that their product is so like balls to the wall, I think that they're basically safe. They're like, you know, no one's really like, okay, do we get like the dolphin guy? Like he's a good worker, but what do we do with that gimmick? What are we doing here?
Yeah, what are we doing?
They just kind of avoid bringing that up.
Captain Lucha. Fuck Captain Lucha. Alright, up next, FCW. I have, so again, this is, for those of you that have played saves in the CornellVerse, you'll know that Puerto Rican Power just loves to fucking bury this company to the fucking ground. He just loves paying out the fucking ass for production values, and I think that will become canon. And FCW, they will be in like a major rebuilding project. They'll still be alive, but thanks to Puerto Rican Power's less than stellar management, I think they will be on their deathbed. I have their current top names will all be either retired or gone. So that meaning they're major stars. I think Bradford will be gone or retired. Probably not retired, but I don't want to get too specific. So Bradford will be gone or retired. Frederique will be gone or retired. Stranger will be gone or retired. Mutant will be gone or retired. I have Kip Keenan will be the only one of these 5 that are still around. And to combat this, the last prediction I have for them, they are going to push the face of Puerto Rico himself, Kid San Juan. He will be at least a star for FCW in the new database. I think they're going to try to make Kid San Juan the new Puerto Rican power, in spirit, not muscle size, in spirit, just because of their, like, not similar namesake. I guess similar namesake. You get what I mean. Like, this guy, he's Puerto Rican. Look at him. Even though he's not. But that's what I got for FCW.
Yeah, my FCW is, well, there's one key difference in terms of the or is I think they're either going to be closed down, like you're not even going to get a chance to play him, brother. Adam's taking away content again. Fuck you. Or they're still alive and they have and not maybe via text, but just by game mechanics, clinging on to life with a local TV deal. Because there is a TV Puerto Rico station. FCW has a TV logo. And I was like, maybe as their last hurrah, they get on TV in their local area. And I'm like, God damn it, we are going to make this work, whether you like it or not. And I think that a lot of their talent will leave, basically about the same list you had. But I do have Kip Keenan leaving, and I can't remember who I had staying. It's actually really eerie how similar those were. But instead, to combat that, they are pushing a lot of new characters, new local talent. So a lot of actual Puerto Ricans in the Puerto Rican Wrestling Company are being pushed. Yeah, like, so these rookies that are coming out. I forget the Sean Gonzalez's relative or Carlos. Is it Carlos? I'm thinking.
Marco Gonzalez.
Is Marco the older one?
Sean's the oldest. Carlos is 37. Marco is the youngest, at 18.
I would say that Carlos has trained up some of these guys, and for better or worse, they're like, all right, unleash the green rookies. And the march of the Puerto Rican rookies is being, unleashed, and it's up for you to save the company or not. Or they could just be dead.
They could just be dead.
They could just be dead.
All right, up next, we got both the West Coast Wars, GSW and IPW. And the reason I lumped them together is just for my first prediction is I have both these companies are going to be at the same spot that they are in 2020, as I don't feel like the West Coast Wars storyline has really, reached its climax in terms of, like, canon storytelling, if that makes any sense. I think they're still going to be around and in the same spot they are, so that we can have more antics go on in between 2020 and 2022 between these two companies. I also have CJ Weston. I don't think he will be the head booker of GSW come 2022. For some reason, he just doesn't fit the vibe for me. And I think whoever the new booker is going to be one of Brother Grimm's personal, his entourage. Yeah, I think most likely it will be MC Motormouth. However, it could also be More Vincent, and to a much, much lesser extent, it could be Boneyard. So yeah, I think MC Motormouth or More Vincent, maybe Boneyard, will be the head booker, strictly because of his relationship with Brother Grimm.
So I'll throw my two together. I guess it makes sense. I have IPW. So I added another extra or to this one, so for be surprised again. Is in the main one. This is my probably most likely. Is IPW is ahead of GSW. They've basically won, quote unquote, the West Coast Wars, although they're still going on. But
they're winning.
Winning. But depending on how you look at GSW, it's like near death. Like Frosure is gone. A lot of their actual talents are gone. There's been a lot of controversy with the company, and they are so like the reason I say one is because like while it's still going on, it's gonna take a miracle to bring them back. I also have IPW. They have left the Confederation of the Territories due to the fact that while it was a nice idea, this traditional territories alliance having a deathmatch company in it kind of ruffled a few feathers, and maybe there's even the idea I had is that there was just a very violent match for the COTT world title, and that pissed off with the management, that pissed off Sam Keith, that pissed off basically everybody, and they decided to go their mutual ways. Or the Hail Mary has occurred, and that if you remember, 64 mentioned Netstream. I have Netstream potentially buying Grim SoCal
No
due
fucking way.
to due to Brother Grimm's media connections. And at first the idea is, oh my god, this is a horrible idea, but you put violence, you put it on demand, people
Oh
love
my
that
god.
shit, and they are, I wouldn't say medium. I'm not gonna go that far because this is only 2 years, but
Yeah.
they're doing very well. Again, I think that's the least likely to happen. I think they're gonna be not doing well at all. But if Netstream gets in the business, I think they go the Hail Mary option.
Dude, I low key kind of fucking love that idea. Like, Netstream buys out the company that's everything that, like, the antithesis of USPW, just to fucking rival them. That's so. I love that, actually.
I was
Um,
gonna say also, if Netstream does buy any company, actually, it's for, or like quote unquote buyout. I think they'll still pretty much have the same management, but
yeah.
maybe in the CEO style. I think it'll be Coastal Zone.
Mmm.
But it could be another one of those companies. You never know.
Yeah. I got some different predictions for IPW. I have they are gonna continue not to milk. Milk's the wrong term. When I say milk, I mean like, oh, this thing has run its course and they're still going. I think they're gonna continue to make the Aldous Blackfair and Deacon Darkhold feud like the one of the biggest things that they have. And in 2022, start of the database, I think Aldous Blackfair will have a new stable to take on his old one. So I think the Dark Watch will still be around, led by Deacon Darkhold, and I think Aldous Blackfair will have his own stable where he's the leader to take on Deacon Darkhold. And then this one is kind of out there, but I think Ash Campbell will leave PSW and join IPW to kind of like honor his dad. As if those of you that don't know, Nemesis was the head booker of IPW until he passed away. So I think Ash Campbell will leave PSW and join IPW and maybe even be a part of the booking committee. Not the head booker, he might be on the booking committee for IPW. All right, and did you give all your IPW predictions?
Yeah, that was all my
Okay,
IPW.
so I'll go straight into Maw then. I have they will still be dev for TCW, and as a result, they won't grow in size. I don't know if they'll be exactly at 25, but damn near close to it. And I think so. TCW, they haven't full on bought out Maw. They don't own Maw. Just Maw accepts developmental workers like Seth Whitehead, I think, right? Yeah, Seth
Yeah,
Whitehead, Duke Freeman, Joey Feely. However, I think TCW will do what they did with Roderick Remus again, and despite not having one of their guys, one of them on a developmental deal, I think they will quote unquote poach somebody. So somebody that's not currently on a dev deal, I think, will be signed to TCW from the Maw roster. So like a good example would be like Nate DeMarcus. Like he's not signed to TCW's dev. He will get signed by TCW. Like he will get eyes on him thanks to the relationship TCW has with Maw. Not Nate DeMarcus specifically. That's just an example. And I have Miller Ford becoming the Ripcord Invitational winner will become canon. Either in 2020 or 2021, Miller Ford will win the fucking Ripcord. It's time, guys. It's fucking time. If George Wolfe can do it, Miller Ford can do it.
He can do it.
He's got this.
He absolutely got this. My ma is very similar to yours. They're still developmental. I don't think they're completely bought out, but they very much cater to TCW, and the more the merrier. I think one of these guys, maybe even Seth Whitehead before he's called up, because I have him called up. Spoiler alert, has won the Ripcord Invitational. And that combined with all these guys basically getting free rides in the company, more or less, they still have to pay their dues, has caused drama backstage. So the Ma guys are not happy with the TCW guys, so on and so forth, and that's starting to cause a little bit of problems.
So you think one of the guys signed to Dev Ma will win the Ripcord?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure I heard it right.
And that is, like, if it's not Seth White, I could see Seth Whitehead being accepted. If it's anyone but, I think that's, like, where things really start. People, like, you cannot have this prestigious tournament basically fucked over by... In fact, you know what? I think if IPW leaves the Alliance, their side of things of what they leave is, everyone else is like, hey, you're fucking, deathmatch company, go away. Their side of things is, I think their finalist made it to the Ripcord and then was told, hey, you gotta lose to the TCW guy, and they were not happy about that shit.
Oh.
I think that's why they left.
Oh.
So, another kind of spark for the fire there.
Oh. Alright, New York. I have a change in ownership for New York. I think in 2022, by 2022, Larry Vesey will retire from the wrestling business, and Steve Flash will take over New York Championship Wrestling, or New York City Wrestling. I also I think the TCW front office will go all in on the DeMeo family, and by 2022, Sal DeMeo will have a NYCW Empire reign under his belt. And the final thing I have for TCW, I think Tennessee William will get poached by TCW as kind of a way to, because they very recently in canon, moved to Texas, I think. Yeah, they moved to San Antonio after they were bought out by Bryco. And I think they want to sign a new, young, fresh name, from the southern region. I know Tennessee, that's come on. People from the Tennessee, they call themselves from the South. So I think TCW will sign Tennessee William to try to cater to their southern fan base.
Yeah, my NYCW prediction is basically that they're not really changing. I think they might go to small, but I think that they're basically just going to stay the same. Fundamentally.
On to Olay. I have that they're going to go under thanks to EILL. And as a result, though, I think both Nicholas Lopez and Marcos Flores, they will refuse to join EILL due to after Olay's closure. I think they'll either be unemployed or retired. I just don't think... I think the internal pride of Marcos Flores and Nicholas Lopez will be too strong to want to leave Olay or join EILL as a result. That's all I got.
Yeah, my Olay is very drastically different. I mentioned that in EILL that people were going to jump ship. I think they jumped ship to Olay. And I think they are basically about neck and neck almost with EILL, probably a little behind, but they are making a comeback especially due to one of the bigger guys that the company has under its belt. Whether, like I said, maybe Mexicano, Velocidad, one of those guys. and they are doing some good booking overall. They're kind of bringing it back. So, the Mexico's starting to heat up a little bit, and that's my Olay predictions.
Oh yeah. I love how we just have like completely wildly different. There were a couple
Yeah,
of
for
these
that one.
predictions I made where it's like Tyler's also gonna say this, and that's what I thought about
Yeah.
EILL. I'm like he's gonna also have them go above TCW, and then you're like, no, fuck you.
Yeah, and then
Um,
there's one that really pissed you off. We'll get to later.
I can't remember that, so it might re-piss me off.
Mm.
I have Pittsburgh Steel. They're gonna be at around the same spot they were in 2020. And the only other real prediction I have is that Nelson Callum will be poached by a major company. Doesn't matter which one. He'll just be in on a exclusive written deal with a major company. I just can't imagine Nelson Callum still gonna be on the indie scene come 2022. And that's all I have for Pittsburgh Steel.
Mine's bet the same. They're doing okay. They might be struggling a bit because Adam hates the hardcore companies. I have the main guy leaving. Nelson Callum could be leaving. I wrote that as a note, but the main guy I have leaving is definitely Ernest Youngman. I think
Yeah,
it's time for him
on
to pack
cue,
up. I
someone in
think
the
he's
chat said that too.
Yeah. I think it's time for him to get the hell out of Dodge and go make a real living, brother. HH.
Can't spend your whole life in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, fuck off.
All right, PGHW. I know
Ooh.
you're gonna have them at a slightly worse, or maybe even a much worse position than I do, but I have that they're still gonna be number 2 in Japan. It's just the gap's gonna be fucking way bigger than it is in 2020, and I think as a result of some of their top names leaving for Burning Hammer, I think my boy Akinori Kwakami, he will finally break free of his tag team with I can't even remember his tag partner because I only care about him. Sonda. I think he'll break free from that tag team and he will capture his first ever Glory Crown Championship before 2022. Um, and yeah, I also want to. There's this one thing is I always like because I've been playing the CornellVerse since like 2010, and this is the first CornellVerse. Like from when 2013 was coming out, I'm like, okay, Pride's gonna overtake Burning Hammer. And then 2016's coming out. I'm like, okay, now Pride's gonna take over Burning Hammer. 2020, same thing. This is the first time where it's like I genuinely will be very surprised if PGHW overtake Burning Hammer. Like every time it's like, okay, they got all the assets, they're gonna have their rebound, and then they never do. This is the first time where it's like Pride are not in a good place, and they aren't gonna take over Burning Hammer. That's all
Mm.
I got.
Yeah, hold on. So I just saw a weird fucking thing on my phone. My pride is, like I mentioned
Puerto
before,
Rico.
they are. It's like you punched them in the stomach and blood's coming out. They are doing horrible. They have suffered immensely in these 2 years. It has gone sicko mode, and in order to stop the bleeding, they are now no longer number 2. In order to bring that shit back, they have a new booker, and that booker is the man himself, Pride Koiso. And he said, I'm gonna get this book, I'm gonna fix this shit, watch this drive. So at the start of the game, he has just taken over the book, and it's up to you, aka, Pride, to save Pride. You know.
All right. Up next is SciShow. I
Sideshow.
I quite literally wrote in my notes. I don't know much about SciShow, so I think they will be in the same place as 2020. And then I came back later once I finished, and I'm like, wait a minute. I think Gideo Kato will be at least be a star because he's pretty popular amongst the Seavers fan base. That's all I got. They'll be at the same spot, and Gideo Kato will be popular.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say that that's basically mine. I have them around the same spot. They, are uh they they are not going to overtake Pride, not even close. But Maybe they have like a pride guy who's like, yeah, fuck this dying company. Went to Sideshow and is getting a little bit of a push.
Fucking
Maybe like
Kobe.
a dojo. Yeah, that'd be insane. But besides that, yeah, that's all I have for Sideshow as well.
All right, Qua.
Cool.
Queens of American Wrestling, I have they will rise to small size, and they already have a working agreement with CILL, but I don't think it'll stop there. I also think that they will strike a working agreement with 5 Star Supreme Wrestling. I don't know this. I don't know if this will be like some alliance, like officially in the game, or if it's just a talent trading agreement between these 3 companies. But I think QAW will strike a talent trading agreement with 5SSW in addition to their one with CILL. And when the database, at the start of the database, I think they will have at least 2 workers from both 5SSW and CILL that'll be working double duty. So, like, the same way that Hugh Dayask has his bookings, where he's signed to Coastal Zone and IPW. 2 workers will be signed to both QAW and 5 Star, and 2 workers will be signed to QAW and CILL. And that's what I got for the Queens of American Wrestling.
Yeah, my Queens of American Wrestling, I have them. They're the lead women's wrestling company, at least in North America. I have them. Maybe they're one of the companies that could be on Wrestle World. They have a deal, stream their events, and that has led them to be very popular. I think that the main only thing leading them or holding them back is that their stars are easily poached by the biggest company in the world. And I think one of the people that has joined uh, their company is Foxy LaRue. I think she left. Also, just to kind of go back, because I completely fucked this up, I forgot uh, that there was. I forgot to say, like, people who are joining companies because I had that listed differently. To just run a quick
If you want,
section of
once we're
that, I
done with
have
Zen, we can go down, or if you want to just do it now.
I'll do I have anyone QAW? Oh, I have. Okay, I'll only do the QAW one, and then I'll do the rest of them later.
All
I
right.
have Christy Higgins joining
Ooh.
QAW. She is very talented. She should be pushed. And I think she will be pushed in the next game and get on a with a QAW.
There she is. I was trying so hard to find her. I was trying to spell it with IE. All right, there's Christy. All right, Qua. On to Raw. As I've mentioned before, I still think Raw will be atop the Aussie wrestling market. And I also I think it is pretty clear to me at least that if Swoop McCarthy was going to leave Raw and go to another region, it would have happened by now. So I think Swoop is going to still be in Raw, and he's just kind of just going to make his money here and live his happy life on Raw. However, I think one of the other major stars in Raw, between Blake Belushi, Loxley Robbins, Luke Steele, and Maurice Jackson, I think one of them will leave Raw over either some sort of like dispute or something, but they will not sign with another company in the Oceania region. They could be with a company, like I know Blake Belushi is active in Japan. Maybe he'll go to Japan. All I know is that one of these 4 are going to leave, and they will not sign with another Oceania company. And that's what I got for Raw.
Yeah, my Raw is not a lot of change in the roster department. I have them, maybe some guys going to Zen because we'll get to Zen later. And Zen is God.
Zen is
But
based.
Raw basically has stalled a little bit due to the fact that they're very much a soap opera. Their screenwriting is having a little bit of a bad time, brother. I think that they're not pumping out the scripts they need to be. We need to get more directors. You need to get better writers in there. And I think that while they're not like, they haven't lost like TV time, they haven't lost like anything. It's basically like these 2 years, nothing really has happened, and that's like when you look at the company, that's not good. Like you want the company to keep rising, so it not rising is not good at all.
Mm-hmm. All right, Rhode Island Pro Wrestling, the dev company for SWF. I have SWF will make these call-ups. I think SWF will call up Forrest Ratzlav, Deaver Arnold, and the Magic Boys, which are Newquay Brown and Kingsley Christopher. I think all four of those guys will be called up to RIPW. I think between the Magic Boys and Deaver Arnold, their stats are decent in 2020, so by 2022 they'll be pretty good. And I think Forrest has just kind of got that aura about him to the point where I think they're going to call him up even if he's not ready. I think Son of Vengeance will rise to at least a well-known status. I think they're going to start trying to push him here to get him more work in because they really want to get him on the main roster. And I think as a result of Son of Vengeance push, or either because of Son of Vengeance push or because he wasn't developing as much as they wanted him to, Helion will be released from RIPW. Again, either because they don't want him to overshadow Son of Vengeance, or because he just wasn't developing, because like he doesn't have that good of stats and he's past the young lion phase. But I think Helion will be released by RIPW. That's what I got for Rhode Island.
I didn't go into individuals of the RIPW. My main RIPW prediction is, let me scroll up to it, is I think they're going to have some kind of deal, whether it be a SWF network type of thing or maybe a local type of thing, something that where you can see their wrestlers actually wrestle and shit. And the main thing about RPW is I think they're going to have a rebrand. I think they're going to be like they're finally making their NXT Butterfly from a FCW Caterpillar moment. And they are really going to be a dev company that you can really sink your teeth into, that you're not limited to. And this will definitely have some, I can actually say their names now. Some really big guys joining their ranks, in terms of rookies. I think two guys I think are standouts of this new rookie class they get are Primetime Jack Pride, young guy, very talented, can very do well. And then James Diaz, the son of the monster. I think they take one look at that kid and they go, holy shit. And they hire him, and now he is going to have the monster run of all monster runs. Shit's going to be insane. And yeah, that's my RP. Yeah, my Rhode Island predictions. I don't know what the company will be called. It'll be called Eric Eisen Fuck Fart for all.
I think we said they're gonna be kind of like in their Cesaro versus Sami Zayn NXT era.
Yeah.
Like right before that really, really good part, but it's still really, really good. Just not, it's not at its peak. SNP, oh Jesus fucking Christ.
Here you go.
So I have Mark Carney. He won't necessarily per se be like caught or anything, I feel that Adam's gonna want to keep Mark Carney around because he'll be way too much fun to write stories for in bios. But I have at least 3 of his workers will quit the company due to some sort of shenanigans with him. Like, it will say in the bio on at least 3 different people that are currently on this roster, or I guess that signed in 2020 and are already gone by 2022, that he like stiffed them on pay, or he screw jobbed them. I don't know. This guy's capable of fucking anything. One funny thing, I think that Mark Carney is just going to see how popular the Ivanovs are just by lingering popularity from their run in 21CW, and he's just going to give one of them a fucking King of Scotland title reign for no fucking reason just because they're over and they haven't quit yet. And I have Bali, where are you? Bali Daljit may or may not have quit because of Mark Carney, but I do think that Bali will get sick of SNP, quit their company, and he will join Kashmir Singh's new promotion that I have opening up. Because he's one of the few, maybe even the only person that's active in India that's employed by a company. So I think he will leave SNP and join the Kashmir Singh promotion. That's what I got for Snip.
So my snip predictions, as I've alluded to, that in the British Isles there is a sort of scandal going on.
Here we go.
I won't say what the specific scandal is, but who started it, his name ends in M and rhymes with Ark Carney. The stunt or whatever he's doing has gone horribly wrong. The funding's been pulled from, I cannot remember, the Scottish
National Arts Committee or Council.
Yeah, they've pulled out, and now a lot of media attention is like, what the hell are these wrestling fools doing? And in terms of S&P, there's three, I think, things that can that will happen. Mark Carney sells the company to someone else. He's like, look, we can't let this die. I gotta bow out, and he leaves, and S&P is now like, okay, we gotta try and rebrand. Here, I don't think they're gonna rebrand, but they might even give up the whole deathmatch wrestling. We'll have to see. The second option is Mark Carney flips you the bird, says, fuck you, I'm taking the ship down with me, and then literally kills the company. Just closes it. Just, if he can't have it, no one can. And that shocks British wrestling up the wazoo. Or he embraces the scandal, hires those that are fired from 21CW, and is basically, while they're very limited on how they can grow, they're basically flipping off everybody that's upset by whatever they did, and a lot of people are also still upset with Mark Carney, so have fun dealing with that backstage.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I like I said, I'm not gonna go with the scandals.
SNP scandal son or 2018 alt-verse USPW daughter.
That's crazy.
Oh, here we go.
Now.
Here we go. My bread and butter. My boys. I'm not delusional, guys. I don't think it's possible that they will be number one. But I will fucking lose my shit. I'll pee straight in the fucking air if I open up TEW 9 and these motherfuckers aren't still number 2 in the world, despite the rise of 21CW and EILL. My boys, the supremacy, all my supremacists stand up. SWF will be number 2 in TEW 9. I have Mikey Lau. Mikey Lau will get his first ever SWF world title reign before 2022. He will break into that major star status quite like he did in the Return series, and he will win the world championship. I mentioned this earlier when I was talking about Coastal Zone when it comes to Midas Touch. I mentioned that Adam Smasher also has the Midas Touch, and it makes him fucking overpowered and so much fun to book. And I think as a result of him touching things gold, whatever that means, he will touch the hearts of the SWF fan base, and he will be over as shit and at least be considered as a star or higher by the fans. Next up, I have Remo. I fucking hate Remo. He's a pain in the ass to book. Somehow Tyler gets lucky every time he books him, and it pisses me off. But I can't have a good match with this fucking guy, so I have him leaving SWF for USPW because I personally can't book him in good matches, so I think he's a scumbag and will join USPW. I have the antithesis of Adam Smasher, Makutsi. Makutsi has the opposite of what Adam Smasher has. He has the Inna Funk trait, where it essentially gives him the exact same scale of penalty or scale of what would the word be?
Trying to think of what the word is.
I don't know what the word would be, but if Adam Smasher he gets X amount of extra positive points, Makutsi gets the same amount of extra negative points with this Inna Funk trait, and I think he will be cut by the SWF as a result of, quote, either being in a funk or some sort of adjacent wording. I have 2 more predictions. I have a lot for these guys because I fucking love this company. I think this one's going to be kind of bold. I think the Rat Pack will not be the launching pad that we all think it will be for Hollywood Brett Starr. and I think this stable will be. I mean, I think it's on good authority that both these stables will be dead in 2022, simply because that's just how Western stables usually go. They don't really have that long of a shelf life. I think the Rat Pack will be dead, and it won't be the launching pad that everyone, including myself, thought it would be for Hollywood Brett, and he will still only be a well-known in SWF. I'll say below star. Maybe he'll drop to recognizable. I think most likely he'll still be well-known, but he will not be a star. He will be below star status in 2022. And the final thing I have, and I've only predicted this because I hate the fact that it's probably going to happen, I just think, the whole Randy Unleashed experiment has not gone as well as people have thought. And I think the Bumfuls are going to reunite. And they're gonna get cold feet. Eric and the boys are gonna get cold feet when it comes to the Randy Unleashed gimmick, and they're gonna reunite the Bumfuls. That's what I've got for the Supreme Wrestling Federation.
All right, so my SWF predictions is I have them. Either they're kind of suffering a little bit due to tensions in leadership between Jerry and Eric on the booking team, or they're about neck and neck with US Pro. They've made the comeback and they're continuing it with some kind of I hinted at it, SWF network. I feel like something like some kind of streaming thing they'll be on. They gotta be on something that's bigger than like cable TV.
Mm-hmm.
I just imagine that being a thing in the game. Let's see. I think Rocky Golden will either have just lost the world title to Scythe, or have just won it back in between the game and have lost it then. So what I mean is that he'll have lost the title like just as the game starts, or he has lost the title to Scythe at some point, like in 2020 or 2020. I have the Crippler retiring.
Boo!
I have Jungler retiring and being fired because he sucks balls.
Yeah!
I think they will have some kind of tournament or a Royal Rumble style title. I feel like, they need that as a big company, some kind of pizzazz.
Annual event, we'll call it.
I think a lot of their young guys are going to be at the top of the card. I think they emphasize it enough where there might be a few stragglers. Maybe Randy Unleashed might not be as big. But the two guys I think are mostly at the top are Spencer Spade and Mikey Lau.
Woo!
And the absolute thing that's going to piss more confused than pissed you off is I think SWF are going to make the most important hire of the save. I think they're going to hire Gary the Entertainer for no reason. They're going to hire Gary the Entertainer for no reason, and somehow he works. And he's like just a meme, and he's like genuine, like a mid-card meme that everyone's just kind of fine with. And they're like, oh, and will he be pushed? Will he flop? That's up to you. But he's basically gotten like the James Ellsworth treatment.
So, this is what I'm saying. How can the Crippler retire when you sign Gary the Entertainer and you don't have the Crippler work the Monkey?
I think the Monkey retired him.
No!
I think the Monkey tapped him out.
Fuck, no.
Look at that Look at that face, bro.
Dude, he jobbed out to the Monkey like Mustafa Ali jobbed out to Buff Daryl at Windy City Riot.
Look at him put him in that headlock.
No, I'm not looking at it. Shut up. Shut up.
Put him in that headlock, dude.
All right.
He's practicing.
All right, so for TCW, the Total Con artists, the Doc Hammoners themselves, I think they're going to be... despite the fact that they've dropped down significantly in the world rankings, I still have them at a medium size, but they're going to be at this kind of like era where, if you play with them, it's going to take a few years to bring them back up to 3, but you will have like the pieces. You'll have some good rebuilding tools to work with. And one of those rebuilding tools, I think, will be J Cord. I think just like Mikey Lau and Shooter Sean, I think J Cord will capture his first ever TCW World Championship by 2022. This one's just for me. I added this one because I love him. Dean Daniels will earn massive respects from the boys and the TCW locker room as a whole just for being fucking awesome and also doubling as a road agent. And as a reward, Dean Daniels will have a television title reign before 2022. We all stand Dean Daniels in the chat. Anyone who doesn't will get pissed on by me personally. Next up, I have both Doc Hammond and One Man Army will be gone from TCW. TCW has developed past the point where they need the new wave, and I think they're going to reunite the new wave on some random indie company that I don't know or don't care to pick because it's the fucking new wave in 2022. This isn't 2005 Dave. I don't want to fucking see him. And I saved the biggest one for last. This was the very last thing I added before the stream. I think Aaron Andrews, whoever in the fucking chat just said Doc Hammond's gonna hold all the titles at one. I hope you drown. The biggest prediction I have for 2022 is either Aaron Andrews or Wolf Hawkins will jump ship to either SWF or USPW. I genuinely don't want either of them to go, so I can't decide who will leave or where they will go, but I think one of the fucking eternal foes here are going to jump ship to either USPW or SWF. And that's what I've got for TCW.
All right, I mean, man, like the Dean Daniels dick riding is crazy.
Shut the fuck up.
That's
I love it.
Okay, so first off, Dean Daniels is hit by a bus.
No, fuck you.
It runs him over. It backs up because that's the Exodus Yakuza scandal. He owed him money from his trips in Japan, and they took his ass out back. They killed that motherfucker. Anyway, I think TCW either has, for some reason, either a spike in popularity, like maybe a huge name stepped up. They had a really good booking year, or they've slid down the ranks a little bit. You know, maybe to that number 4 spot, maybe even more in the number 3. I'll let you decide on that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm leaning on it staying maybe just above the status quo. So like not like, oh, we're coming for number 1, but they're solidly number 3 is how I think it's gonna be. It's like basically status quo but a little above. Greg Gage and Jake Cord, they've ascended to the top of the card, and they're running roughshod. Joshua Taylor has either risen up to the top as well, or slid down the card, possibly even leaving the company. I have Sammy Bach leaving the company and going off somewhere for a retirement run, just kind of, you know, existing and kind of being boring. I have Wolf Hawkins and Ace Andrews still in the company, but they have swapped the face and heel roles. So Wolf Hawkins is the face, Aaron Andrews is the heel, and I didn't write this. I told 64 how hilarious this would be, but I think it would be incredibly based if once again Aaron Andrews was the fucking TCW World Champion. You cannot stop.
Dude, you got it, dude. If he's not if he stays and Wolf Hawkins is the one that I have leaving, you gotta have him be the world champion again. This should be the fucking 3rd game in a row, and I love that. Dude, Ben said Dean Daniels will get eaten by a crocodile and Tana will sit on him. What's with why does everyone hate Dean Daniels?
The dick riding is crazy. Anyway, Chris Flynn and T-Bone Bright have risen up the card pretty well, and they're semi upper mid card names. And Seth Whitehead, I have him debuting from Ma to very good reactions in TCW, being a very good worker and a big guy. You know, like all the boys in the back are drooling at the thought of this. And as such, they're doing pretty good for themselves. Like you know, they're doing good for themselves. But you know, like I said, they could have taken a hit popularity wise, or they could be, you know. I mean, you know, who knows what they could be. Basically, the sky's the limit with TCW. I have trouble marking where I see the company going.
Dean Daniels' last words after getting killed by the Yakuza will be push goat Hammond. I hate you all.
That is true.
I fucking hate you all.
That's in the lore.
Oh my god. So you said at the beginning TCW might have a surge in popularity because someone got really over, right? You said that was one of your ors.
Yeah.
Will it be Dazzling Dave Diamond that gets the surge
Uh,
in popularity?
no, Desmond Devin shoots himself
No, he doesn't.
because he saw how good Greg Gage is, and he just can't take
No,
it.
he actually what happened was he saw how much Ben loves him, and therefore it motivated him to become the greatest wrestler in all of TCW, and he thanks Bollywood Benjamin for reaching his potential.
Yeah, with a
Um,
fan made letter. He has a fan edit of the
yeah.
fan. That's really weird. In terms of signings, I have a couple. I have a guy I think goes to he either goes to TCW or Oli, is Arthur Dexter Bradley, who is like the standout of the Seaver Samoan family. I always thought like, he could really be like with connections just being a big company, but him being smaller I think limits that a little bit. So I think he could go there or to Ole, since he's in Mexico. In terms of Ma, I think two guys that I see getting signed either by Ma itself or with developmental deals are Hammer Hadley and Jay Silver. They just kind of scream TCW to me. And Hammer especially, like they probably looked at that guy and were like, "Ooh, get him a manager now."
Oh yeah. Hammer Hadley. They're like, dude, we need Hammer Hadley in Center Society ASAP. All right, UEW are gonna die. Yeah. I think Joey Beauchamp, most likely. I don't have anyone specifically I wrote down, but I think they'll get at least two of their guys poached by 21CW. Probably Joey Beauchamp will be in 21CW, and I think just because I have 21CW gaining a lot of popularity in Europe, I think the casualty that will be suffered is UEW. And I say casualty, but I mean, are we really missing out if UEW
My
dies?
Yeah, my UEW is basically about the same, maybe a little less if you go with the European League showing up. If not, European League, I think they're just kind of about the same.
Yeah, we don't like UEW for some reason. United States Pro Wrestling, the bane of my existence, the worst thing that's ever come out of the CornellVerse. In the last predictions video I did, I made the false claim of saying that no company had ever reached, at the time it was called international status, and I thought USPW was going to reach that. And then I found out the day after I posted it that SWF had already done that, so I looked like a fucking idiot. So this time, I know for a goddamn fact that no company has ever reached global or Titanic or whatever the fuck, and I think USPW will finally break that barrier, and they will be a Titanic-sized company come 2022, and they will make some new investments. And the next prediction I have is they will have their own dev company, not the TCW agreement with Maw kind of thing, a full-on own company like the relationship SWF and RIPW have. I don't know specifically if they will buy out a company or they will make their own. It doesn't matter to me. But I do think there will be a dev company for USPW. And I also have, they will start, because they're a Titanic-sized company now, they will have a second show on TV, A or B show, it doesn't matter. I think they will have 2 weekly shows going on by 2022. Next up, I have Running Wolf. Running Wolf will have captured his first ever USPW World Championship by 2022, and I think they've decided to go with Running Wolf and not Josh Thompson, who I think will not get the push that he rightfully deserves, and he will fall down from star status to well-known status. And the last prediction I have, and this one's going to be fun, because you know this will be a pain in the fucking ass to deal with if this comes true, that Rich Money might still be the head booker. That's not the prediction. The prediction is that Rich Money, Steve Freely, and Nikki Champion will all be on the USPW booking committee, and I want you all to fucking deal with that.
That would
That would be
oh
fucked
no.
up.
Oh no. Hopefully not. Surely not. All right, my US Pro predictions. I think due to the flavor text they have that says how they were having they basically were buying every indie guy up, and then that pissed people off. I have them struggling with that perception. They may have done it a couple more times, got a few new signings, and now people are like, okay, they're just like they go from being like, yeah, all American company to like, yeah, they're just the money hungry people. They're like EILL, but people actually kind of are pissed off by that. They also, I think, will be going through a retirement crisis. I think their roster is old, and I think a lot of their old guys are definitely going to be
Oh
calling it
shit.
quits. The I think the main guys that are going to be retiring are, and this might not be all of them. It might be all of them. Who knows? Uh, I think Rich Money's going to retire. I think he's still going to be Booker, but I think he's going to step away from the ring. Liberty, I think. I mean, Jesus, if he doesn't retire, I'm gonna make sure of that myself, brother. That's the first thing I'm gonna open that game up and say, you gotta retire, brother.
Uh,
It's over. It's over for you.
if Liberty or Tyson Bane, if one of them had to still be active, which one would you pick?
Tyson Bane. I also have
Oh,
Tyson Bane on the retirement list. I think
yeah.
the Force is gonna go as well
No.
as Enigma, and
Who's
I
gonna
think
sell all the merch if the Force retires?
Rick Law, because I think he has either won the USPW World Title and is going on a really good run with that, or he has not gotten it yet, and he's done the last thing he thinks that can get him that title, which is to turn heel. And that'll be a huge moment in the save. Like, oh my God, heel Rick Law. What are we
There
gonna
is with
do
his cigar.
with his cigar? Uh, and I think in terms of Running Wolf, I have his push either getting there and making him a major star, maybe slightly in the shadow of Nikki Champion, or the push loses a lot of momentum to do his quote unquote similarities with Nikki. And what I mean by that is Riviera viewers basically being like, okay, you're taking Nikki 2 and just making him Nikki 2. We don't want Nikki 2. And I think Running Wolf is very talented, but that doesn't really matter. Not he basically loses his push because the fans turn on him. Who I think will rise up the card there, I think, are Kirk Jameson will get a massive push to the front, as well as
I
Julius
hope so.
Moore. And I think Trent Schaefer will be steadily up the card. I think it's his time. I think despite his size, I think they worked that to his advantage. The squirmy heel, I think, could be really good for them. And as such, I think, is there any? Oh, I think people that go to US Pro, I think the Rock City Rockstar or the Rock City Stars. I don't know where that came from. Will join US Pro. They need tag teams like it's going out of style. I think they go with them, as well as I think Catherine Goodlooks, not the most youthful woman to join their ranks, but I think she has enough popularity and a good gimmick that would really fit the wholesome 100 US Pro lifestyle. Opens her mouth gigantically, and I think she'll get the thing. Is there any other USPW? No, that's it. That's all my USPW
Us
predictions.
boy.
Us poor.
Us
Us
boy.
poor.
Alright. VWA. Um, so I've mentioned a bunch that 21CW are going to have an abundance of talent from both poaching European guys and also the billion dojo graduates they get. And I think specifically, despite not dying like UEW will, I think VWA will get hit the hardest, as I'm very confident that Landon Mallory will be poached by 21CW, and I also think Cub Balowitz will be poached by 21CW. And so I think like they're gonna be slightly worse, but I still think they'll be tiny sized. And I think that due to a good amount of their top names gone, I think Randy Hott will take it upon himself to rebuild the company. Wherever you are, there you are. At 45 years old, I think Randy Hott will push himself back to the top of the card. And he will get a third European title reign before 2022.
Hmm.
He will also be at least a star. I wrote that.
My VWA predictions is that in terms of Europe, I think they're going to be hit hard the most. I think that their abandoning of the one thing that made them unique, their lack of tag action, the fact that they went back on that has caused them a lot of problems. And I think that now they are probably the worst in Europe, if they not are already. And they're losing serious momentum, probably some people poached by the other companies, and are now like, okay, what do we do now? And
Right.
that's my VW
Right.
predictions.
World level wrestling. So I mentioned earlier, I think Black Canvas Grappling will be medium sized, but they will not be the third biggest promotion in Japan. And that's because I think the guidance of the former owner and owner of Burning Hammer during their, I guess, CornellVerse golden age, since the start of the CornellVerse in video games. Kanane, I don't know how to pronounce his first name. Connie Comine. I think he will bring WLW to the promised land. They will rise to the heights of both Burning Hammer and Pride. I don't think they will overtake Pride just yet, but they're going to be damn close to it. And I think despite their newfound popularity, they aren't going to sign anyone new, as in none of their stars or major stars will be any new talent. They are just going to do something, like I said, similar to Black Canvas Grappling, but to an even more extreme extent, where I think they're going to bet on themselves and they're going to succeed thanks to the promotional work and managerial work of Comine here. They are going to reach to medium size and start to try to give Burning Hammer and Pride a run for their money. And that's what I got for world level.
Yeah, my world level predictions is I think they're going to be doing really good. I think they're going to continue the growth that they've had since the Yakuza scandal, coming back. I think in terms of being the company that takes that number 2 spot in Japan, they're the second most likely. I think that their product lets them be able to do that, but I think Black Canvas kind of would easily swoop in and take that spot a little easier. I think that they basically kind of go under the radar because people are like, this comedy shit, like, what the hell is that? Burning Hammer's not really paying attention. Pride's not paying attention, too busy dying. And they basically win by existing, and I think they will continue to grow in this game and the next.
And that's the best way to win.
Yeah. No real specifics with workers. I just think that they're going to keep doing good, and if they have grown, I think they get to exclusive contracts. I think that's pretty much the only thing that I can maybe see them getting that. But like I said, I think Black Canvas is a little more in that position, easier to do.
Yeah. WLW is definitely a dark horse for me that I just kind of want to succeed. So, final company we have, and man, did we save one of the best for last. The Art of Wrestling Zen. I do have that Raw will be atop of the Aussie scene still, but in a wake of their dominance, leaving DIW to die and APW to waste, I think Zen will be relatively unaffected, and they will launch up from the lowest ranked company in the entire database all the way up to the most or second most popular company in all of Australia. I think they're gonna rise fucking so much because they fucking rule, and I love Zen. They're gonna break out of the New Zealand area. They're gonna get fucking popularity across all of Australia and reach company rank number 2 in Australia. On top of that, I think Damien Dastardly will have his first ever Zen Master title reign by 2022. I think they're going to give him the keys, kinda, per se. And I think somebody from Raw, not necessarily the major star that I mentioned earlier, or it can't be the major star I mentioned earlier because I said they wouldn't sign with another Oceanic company. I think someone from Raw will leave Raw and join Zen, and they will have a new Zen-style goofy gimmick. Not necessarily under a mask like Luis Montero Jr. and EMLL, but they will have a new comedy gimmick to fit Zen, and they will at least be a star. So they'll be a star or major star. They'll be at the top of the card for them. And with that, that is all of my predictions that I have for CornellVerse 2022. That's your
So
cue.
yeah, well, I'm just trying to.
No, you're good.
So, well, no, it was I was trying to lean into the meme a bit because I'm just gonna read what I wrote. As Zen has grown because Zen kicks ass. That or it's dead. Because in parentheses I wrote because Adam hates fun. Adam does not hate fun. I just feel that the universe hates Zen, but I love Zen. So, Zen on top for life.
Zen on top for life.
For
All
life.
right. Before
Or
I end the
life.
video, you said when we were at Qua, you said you had signings for the previous companies that we were going to come back to.
I got all of them done,
All right.
as it turns out.
Oh, you did? Oh, sweet. Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So that's going to do it for the predictions video. I'm sorry that this took 2 hours, but, you know, we had a lot to predict. I hope you all enjoyed. And I hope you join us for the reaction stream, assuming I can get one going again. It was kind of lightning in a bottle for 2020. We were like one of the top 100 people to download the demo before the whatever crashed, the forums crashed. So yeah, I hope you all enjoy, and I hope you all join us for the reaction stream.
Yeah, I should be there too. I'm hoping it's a Saturday, right?
We'll find out. I don't have the date in front of me.
I believe it is a Saturday. Let me look at my calendar.
It's August something.
No, I mean the demo.
Oh yeah, that's the 27th.
Yeah, it's a Saturday.
All right, cool, easy. Saturday the 27th.
You'll be there, be square, and if you don't support Zen, you die.